What is up guys, welcome back to another video. Warzone 2 is finally live and is completely free to play, and a lot of new players jumping into the game for the first time. So today I'm gonna bring you guys the best graphical settings that you should try out on Warzone 2 to improve the overall performance, FPS and the visibility alongside getting the lowest input lag. So without further ado guys, let's get right into the video. Alright, open up your graphics setting and then go to the display option first. In here, make sure you set your display mode to full screen exclusive. That way you get the lowest input lag. Then select your preferred monitor and the preferred graphics card. Then make sure to set your screen refresh rate to the highest possible that your monitor supports. So you could have 144Hz, 165Hz. In my case, I do have a 240Hz monitor, so I will set it to 240Hz. Then we have the display resolution option, and make sure to set your resolution to the native resolution of your monitor. In my case, I do have a 1080p monitor, so you could have either 1440p, sometimes 4K monitors, so make sure to set it to the native resolution. Then make sure to disable the dynamic resolution option. Then set your aspect ratio to automatic and make sure to disable both VSync option in the gameplay as well as main menus. Then you can set a custom frame limit to your game. It depends on your preference. I usually cap my FPS around 250 because I do have a 240Hz monitor, and also you can limit your FPS on the main menus as well. Then we have the display gamma option, and make sure to set it to 2.2 if you have a regular computer monitor, but if you are playing on a TV, 2.4 option is going to be better. Alright, next up we have the brightness option, and make sure to set it to around 50 to 55, whatever you prefer, but increasing the brightness at least a little bit will definitely help you with the visibility much more. Alright, next up we have the HDR option, and make sure to disable it even if you have a HDR supported monitor. Alright, next up we have the most important quality settings. Alright, first make sure to set your render resolution at 100%, and then we have the upscaling and the sharpness options. I talk a lot about these in my previous videos as well. Basically, all the upscaling method does help you with getting some FPS, but it definitely reduces your visibility, which is much more important in a game like Warzone. I'm only recommending enabling upscaling methods only if you have a graphics card that is quite low end, but other than that, there is one single option that you should definitely enable it. That is the Fidelity FX Cache option. That is actually a sharpness tool that helps you to sharpen up your image and improve your overall visibility, especially in a large scale map like Warzone. So make sure to set it to somewhere between 50 to 80%, or even if you want, you can go up to 100, basically depend on your personal preference. And then we have the anti-aliasing option, and make sure to set it to SMA A2X, which is the one I'm using, and it's definitely less intense on your graphics card. And next we have the anti-aliasing quality, and make sure to set it to low. And after that we have the video memory scale, and make sure to set it to all the way up to 90. Alright, next we have the text resolution option. I usually play around with low settings, but if you have a graphics card that have very limited amount of VRAM, I would suggest to go to very low option, but the overall clarity of this game is not going to be that good. Alright, next up we have the text filter option, and make sure to set it to high because it definitely helps you with the visibility, but it doesn't impact the performance that much. Next up we have the nearby level of detail and the distant level of detail. Make sure to set both of these settings to high because it definitely helps you in a large scale map like Warzone. Then set the clutter draw distance to the short option, and then we have the particle quality and the particle quality level. Set both of these options to low because it doesn't help you that much in Warzone. And then we have the bullet impacts. That is basically a personal preference. I usually like to play around with it, but if you don't like it, just disable it. That's all up to you. Alright, next we have the one of the important settings, that is the shader quality. You can definitely set this option to low and get a massive FPS boost, but if you are someone like me who like to play around with camos, especially gold and the platinum camos, make sure to set this to high. But if you are someone who only care about your frame rate, just set it to low. That will help you definitely. Then turn off the tessellation option, and the terrain memory set it to maximum. Alright, next we have the on-demand text streaming option, and that is extremely important to disable this option. Otherwise you allow the game to download the high resolution texture while you play in the game, which is definitely going to impact your performance massively. So make sure to disable it. Alright, then we have the streaming quality and the volumetric quality option. Make sure to set both of these to low because both of these options is going to cut down your FPS massively. And then disable the both deferred physics quality option and also the water caustic option. We honestly don't need those fancy graphical settings. Next we have the shadow map resolution. I usually like to play around with very low settings, but if you don't like it, just set it to low. Don't go beyond low settings because it's going to impact your performance a lot. Then make sure to disable the screen space shadows, and then we have the spot shadow quality and the spot cache. We honestly don't need those settings, just set it to low. And then we have the particle lighting, just set it to low as well, and then disable the ambient occlusion. And then we have some 3 fancy settings regarding some reflection. Just set it to off and low because we don't necessarily need any of these settings in our game. And next we have an important setting, that is the Nvidia reflex latency option. So you have basically 2 options to on or either on plus boost. This setting is actually based on your system, basically system bottlenecks. So if you have a pretty powerful graphics card paired with a quite low end CPU, it's recommended to go with the on plus boost settings. But if you have a more of a balanced system with GPU and CPU, just go with the on settings. And then we have the depth of field, just turn it off. And next we have the world motion blur and the weapon motion blur. We don't need any of those, just make sure to disable both of those settings. And finally we have the film grain, make sure to set it to 0 as well. Alright, next we have the field of view option. Make sure to set it to somewhere between 110 to 120, depend on your preference, because nowadays basically everyone playing on 120 FOV. So if you are going with something like a 90 FOV, it's definitely give you a disadvantage in game. Next up we have the ADS field of view. Make sure to set it to affected. And then we got some bunch of settings that are basically personal preference. It's not going to impact your performance at all. Just play around with the settings or just copy these settings, which is definitely gonna work for you as well. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. If this video helpful for you, make sure to drop a like on the video, and if you have any issues regarding any settings, make sure to drop a comment down below. I'm really happy to help you. And I'm also gonna bring you an ultimate FPS boost guide for Warzone, especially for low-end computers and laptops. That video should be available in a couple of days time, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well. And also I'll be live streaming Warzone in my second channel, so be sure to check it out, the link in the description as well. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay safe.